Say, I appreciate you showing up, loved ones. Yeah, I need something else from you though. Go do me a favor. Go like, comment, share, subscribe, and follow us at Instagram, at Facebook, and check out the YouTube clips. We're gonna have something nice for you, something intriguing. It's gonna get you right. Sit down, man. Grab yourself a drink, something to smoke, preferably a stogie for me. Whatever you need to do to relax, man. Kick back, chop it up with us, man. We got something else coming for you. We gonna get you right around here. Stay tuned. Now we got that part out of the way. The real topic of the day that we were gonna converse about was going to be the fear of being used. So basically, use versus being useful. You know, we gonna converse about it. So the thing of it is to me is that when you say being used, it always has a negative connotation. Somebody saying that someone is using me, someone is being used. You're not gonna use me. Everything of that nature, when it's spoken like that, is in a negative light, right? So, to me, this is in my opinion. This is my perspective. So we can definitely kick this around. You guys give me some of your understanding. Uh, Comment on this. Leave your perspective in the comments. Let me know where you're coming from. Let me know your experiences on this situation when you're dealing with used or being useful, right? So, to me, the only negative connotation that being used should have is when you're being misused, right? So I was having a conversation with a couple of my loved ones the other day about this subject matter, and a lot of you have a fear of being used, and to me, everyone gets used, no matter the shape, form, or fashion. In some sort of way, you're being used. If you don't look at it like that on your place of business or at your job, your place of work, because they're using you. That's what you're doing. You're being used for a purpose and with a purpose. You just hopefully don't allow them to misuse you. You get what I'm saying? And in return for them using you, you've become useful. You may have went in and not knew anything about this position or what's going on, what they call entry level. Minimal understanding, minimal skills for this position. You use them to gain skills. You use them to gain an understanding. So it's hand in hand. It's a what we used to call and still do today, old saying, fair exchange ain't no robbery. You get what I'm saying? So in that formation, it's not really looked at as negative. However, if you transfer that over to a relationship, it can be looked at as negative, totally negative. Oh, you using me. I'm not going to let you use me. Like, whoa, whoa, whoa. If you are intertwined with an individual and you guys have engaged upon a relationship, then that means the both of you are using each other for something. Now, negative is just the way people look at it and just the opinions of individuals that have had a bad experience with being used because they were misused. So the woman can be using the man for protection, provision. You can be using the man. The man can be using you for your support, for your companionship, as well as vice versa. We don't know. It's different for every facet of relationships. So um it's not one size fits all, right? So there's many different things that they could be using each other for that helps them get to whatever stage they're trying to reach together. So it should never be looked at as, to me, excuse me, let me always put that disclaimer in there, because I don't look at certain things as people being used in a negative light. Because no matter what you do, no matter what situation, if you go into it with a real um, open mind thought process and not just leading with your feelings and jumping into something and irrational, if you think rationally, everything you do, you're being used. You got a plug, you're using your plug for whatever plug that he has for you, whatever it may be, whether it's a clothes seller, whether it's a food vendor, whatever it is. If you guys are doing business together, you guys are utilizing each other for something. However, that's, like I said, doesn't have that negative connotation. However, when it gets transferred to a relationship, it's negative. And my question is, why is that? You can use somebody for something and you don't look at it in that light and no, oh no, it's not like that with me. However, when it comes to them or someone else in the background trying to project you being used in a negative light on you, why do you flip the switch and take it as such? When you already in a situation and you know it's not that. You may be comfortable or you may be relaxing within your situation, the confines of the situation. And now, since the outsider looking from the window in, who knows nothing about your situation, say, oh, they using you. You automatically go to, yeah, they are using me. I think they are using. No, 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 no. What are you using them for? Is the thing, because if we understand that everyone uses somebody for, sometimes you use your kids. You use your kids for that unconditional love. You get what I'm saying? When you're not getting it from anywhere else, you can always count on them kids to love you and look towards you as they bigger figure. When you're feeling small in every other circle, in every other situation, you utilize those kids to uplift you and make you feel loved. You get what I'm saying? They use you for housing. They use you for the things that they don't even know that they're using you for. And that's not a negative light, though. You get what I'm saying? So this is what I mean by opinion and gaining some clarity and understanding about what you're going through and what's happening in this certain situation. Because if you put your emotions before your logic and your reality, then being used will make you feel like something. Because that's exactly what you stuck in, the realm of your feelings. You know? And if we learn to get outside that and attack reality for what actually is and what's before us, then we'll be able to approach other things in a lighter fashion, in a lighter manner. Because now we shed shoes. We put ourselves in this other individual seat. And now we can see through their lenses. We can walk in their shoes, understand the journey in which they're coming from and how what they're doing isn't as bad as what we thought it was. Because when you're in a relationship, y'all using each other no matter which way you want to play it, no matter which way you want to say it. Y'all using each other in some capacity. When you gain an understanding of that, then you'll be able to understand how to move within that realm of that relationship and not take everything so personal just because you have priors from coming from somewhere else and being used and used up and not being useful because they didn't teach you any skills. They didn't give you anything. You came up out of that less than what you went in. You get what I'm saying? And that means personal. I don't mean financially, as however, that can be a aspect of it as well. Yet you went in and gave a situation something that you didn't get, that wasn't reciprocated to you. So now you travel with that through every situation, every relationship, everything you go through, even in certain business ventures, you're gonna bring that past tense scar, that past tense heartache, you're gonna bring that over to something else that didn't formulate like that, that didn't have that in it. Yet you injected it in it and it turned out to be that. Because that's what you fixated on. That's what you paid attention to so much. So we have to learn to, even though it's easier said than done, we have to learn to set aside previous um, issues from prior ventures, whether it been business or relationships that we embarked on that left a scar on us. Because until we get ourselves right and understand the usefulness of us and what we bring to a table, we can't keep putting that malice on someone else when their intentions may be far from what we thinking about. That's just something to gain an understanding on, because everybody's so fearful of being used that they don't allow themselves to be useful. You know, you lock yourself in. I hear, oh, I got a wall up all the time. Like, shit, what you got a wall up for? You got a wall up, but you can't see what's out. You can't pick your packages up off the porch if you got a wall up. That means you can't reap the rewards that are waiting on you because you got a wall up all the goddamn time. Because of what someone else did in your prior situations before this individual that's before you, that's trying to use you in the right way and not trying to misuse you. You allowed all the individuals that had misuse for you in, broke down your own walls, opened up your own gates for an individual that you weren't supposed to, just because maybe you liked them. Everything else didn't add up. So you allowed this individual to use you when you didn't even see his intention. You didn't even vet this individual right. You get what I'm saying? You didn't vet her right. You didn't see what she was capable of or what she came to do as far as intent. You didn't see, you didn't have no questionnaire for baby. You know? And now you're angry at being used when you allowed yourself to be misused. Used and misused, two totally different things. Being used and useful, when a repairman comes to your house, he may come with a lot of tools. Whatever job he needs to do at your house, he picks the right tool because it's useful for the job that you need to get done. Not saying in that form, oh, be a tool from somebody. What I'm saying is be useful, like the right tool for somebody. You get what I'm saying? If you understand that terminology, you know what I mean? That analogy, should I say? If you understand that, you might have been a useful tool for the wrong someone. You get what I'm saying? You allowed yourself to be in their space and they misused you because they didn't know what you was useful for. They didn't have that information. They didn't have that knowledge. So all they could do is misuse you. You get what I'm saying? So you have to allow the right individual to utilize you in the right way, and vice versa. You have to utilize them in the right fashion as well, or things aren't gonna work. It's not gonna balance out. Stop worrying about being used by everybody. Start vetting the individuals that you dealing with, that you fucking with, that you going into a covenant with, and understand when things are right, understand when things are wrong. Don't allow yourself to come into a situation as if everything is going to be peaches and cream, yet you have a wall up. How are they going to even deal with you in the right fashion? How are they even going to access you and have the right access to you to build what you guys need to or what you want to build? You know what I mean? You can't work together if they got to work on tearing your wall down the whole goddamn time. That's not even possible. And that's not a one-sided uh, thing right there. That's not a one-sided statement. As far as what goes for females goes for males too, in that sense. You know what I mean? Yet I do hear, oh, I'm not gonna be used by more the majority of females than I do males. You know, it's more from that aspect and that side of the spectrum. You know, I'm sure you have too. However, you know, like I said, leave it in the comments. Let me know your experiences so we can chop it up. This is the chopping block. This is what we do. We gain clarity. This is not for controversy, although controversy may be injected or implemented in this from time to time due to the due to the concepts that we're bringing up, due to the conversations that we have and what we're talking about. You know what I mean? These are very on the edge of your seat conversations that we're gonna have because it's dealing with real life. You know, and that's what we want to do. Always deal with the reality aspect of it. We don't really want to deal with the fictional, the what if, the it, woulda, shoulda, coulda. You know, we want to deal with what's placed right in front of us, what happens on a daily, what most of us have been through. You know, what most of us still haven't gained the understanding of, or the knowledge on how to deal with, the knowledge of how to cope with these heartaches, with these pains, with these avenues that we've traveled, and it seems like we keep on hitting roadblocks. Excuse me, hitting roadblocks and speed bumps and can't get to our desired destination because of this. You know, that's what we're here to do. We're here to kick this around so we can really, really grow from it. You know what I mean? We cultivating and we planting seeds right now. So for those who don't have a understanding can gain one. For those who are on the other side of the spectrum can see what the opposite side of the spectrum is saying about the certain situation or certain concept. You know, not just to kick the shit and not gain anything from it, to kick up a bunch of dust and not have the dust settle because we come into an understanding. And sometimes we can agree to disagree. You know, that's fine with me. I'm gonna have my stance where I have my stance at. However, you can add to it. Some of it may change my mind, you know, because you're giving me a different perspective. You're giving me something to think about. I'm not just shut down and shut off and a deaf ear to information. I'm not that. I'm not a blind eye nor a deaf ear. You know, I'm inquisitive. So I like to take in information. I like to see your side of things. You know what I mean? So that's how dialogue goes. That's how this gets started. By having this dialogue. You know, it may get heated. It may get, you know, it may get shut down from time to time because somebody don't want to hear somebody else's aspect because it hits them in the heart too much. It hits them in their mind where they was thinking about this already and they don't want to see the truth in it. You know what I mean? They don't want to see the truth of the matter, so they angry about it. They mix they're all in their feelings instead of all in what's placed out there on a logical, sensible level. You know what I mean? I like to talk to sensible individuals that don't get too much wrapped up into their feelings. And if they do, they know how to extinguish that quick. You know, I like to have these conversations, man, because it helps. It helps a lot. You know, not only myself, it helps those around me. It helps you out there that are going through these certain circumstances. You know, these certain situations, and it brings us a little closer to understanding each other. It brings us a little closer to developing these situations and relationships that we need to develop with people. You know what I mean? And it helps us get over the bullshit that we thought was bigger than it was. You know, it helps us to see what someone else is saying instead of going off our own understanding all the freaking time. You know what I'm saying? So, uh, gain clarity, man. Not all that hoopla, not all that other hostile environment type shit and a bunch of controversy and All that talking about a bunch of bullshit, nah, I'm not for it. We speak on real life things here, real honest opinions here. You know, something of substance that you can take with you, that you can utilize and apply, is applicable to your everyday life. You know, so that's what we're gonna continue to kick here. We're gonna continue to want to see you to show up to get this message. This is gonna be a new beautiful relationship, man, that we cultivating right here, man. So you know, we gonna say planting seeds, yet it's up to you to water it, give it some nutrients. You leave your comments in the comment section. You're gonna keep kicking this back and forth, kicking it around like a soccer ball, so we can really gain that growth together. You know what I mean? So I appreciate y'all showing up. I appreciate you lending me your ear, and we gonna do it again, man. Another silky session in the books. Much appreciated. Y'all have a good one, folks, family, loved ones. Y'all be smooth.